This episode of Smirking Gun Reviews is brought to you by beautiful Maveth City. Come see a thriving alien city. See relics of the past. Take stunning, beautiful strolls with stunning views. And last but definitely not least, come join the Hive. Brought to you by Hydra Travel, the leading seller of one-way tickets for the last 100 years. Ba 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 ba. Ba 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 la la ba 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 da 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 ba 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 ba. Ba 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 ba.
All right, hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is Rob here at Smirking Gun Reviews, back to talk more old S.H.I.E.L.D. new reviews, the show where we look back at old Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. seasons and talk about the reviews. These are mostly the second time I've seen these episodes, so it's kind of a real fresh take, and it's been years since I've seen them. And the more I see season 3, which is what we're on now, we're talking about season 3, episode 16, Paradise Lost, the more I think season 3 is my second favorite season behind 4. So, anyway, I want to thank everybody that watches these. You know, if you're not a subscriber, please consider becoming a subscriber to the channel, liking it, hitting bell for notifications, all that stuff. Yeah, so let's just get into it because I'm trying to get these done before we talk about season 3 in February over on D's Reviews, or we're fans of S.H.I.E.L.D. over there. So let's get to talking about the latest episode that we're talking about here. So this one is Malick heavy. I know that on Fans of S.H.I.E.L.D., when we were talking about season 7, I know that when we've been talking about past seasons, I've been really critical about the Malicks and not really liking them. I forgot. That's another reason why season 3 is pretty much being solidified in my mind as one of the best, absolute best seasons that this show has done because of Gideon Malick and Powers Boothe and how I really dig this, but not just the character, but the lore of the family and the character. We get tons of this in here. And Powers Boothe's character, he like so many different things, uh, you know, explain this guy and his family and his way of life in this episode. And I love it. It's like just getting that kind of history to like scumbags. It's like when they did Musings of a Cigarette Smoking Man in season 4 of The X-Files that explains, a lot of the Cancer Man's backstory and motivations and why, this person might be the way that they are. That's what this episode is for me. Because we go back to 1970 and the death of their father, who we've known from season 7 of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and all that, like going back and forth in time. But here we have Nathaniel. Now it's not the same actor that plays him in season 7, but it's an interesting story because basically after their father dies, they can do what they want. But Daniel Whitehall's, and we get another callback to him, wanting them to come and join his Hydra. He wants him to abandon his family's, ancient, archaic blood sacrifices, as he puts it. But I really thought that was an interesting story that we get here, right? So it's like they don't necessarily want to continue their father's work. This is their chance to get out. But they are going off of the beliefs that, Dad's been into this our whole lives. We have to carry on this tradition. That Dad didn't believe in Whitehall's version of Hydra. And we're not going to start now. And it's interesting because Hydra just seems to have like all these subsets of plans depending on who's where. It seems like all these guys have different plans, and I think that's interesting. Like many heads, right? You cut off one head, there's another one, but they don't necessarily aren't doing the same thing as the other ones. Some of them might seem to be all part of one big plan. Some of them just seem to be off doing their own thing. Like, hey, we're this huge evil organization. Who's going to even notice if I've got some stupid thing going on the side? Which in the end is why they would never really succeed, I think, in the end of getting any, because it seems like Hydra's got a big like a big communication problem. But I thought that this was a really great beginning explaining some of this stuff. But like Whitehall says to them, like, you guys are doing these weird like frat boy, like, putting on your robes and handing your stones, and it's like a bad guy dissing the other bad guy's plans. Like, and what they've been doing. Like, your bad plan is stupid. I deal with science. You guys are dealing with your, like, weird religious mumbo jumbo, right? And they start to finally see their father in a different light in this. Like, all the things that they were taught, right? That the dad's a true believer. But Whitehall gives him the rock. That rock divides the whole rest of the episode. It causes this huge division in the end, because the rock has a groove which their dad would put in a bag, and when it came to pick the traveler, the person who would have to go and be like Will, the sacrifice, it would never be his dad. But now that they have it, this is, I think, was given to them to cause this almost situation. That Whitehall was almost like kind of throwing a grenade at them. Like, here's the grenade. Let's see which one of you pulls the pin. And, kind of destroy each other. I feel like that's also Hydra. Like, they taking out their own people. Like, I think that might have even been Whitehall's plan, was to end this whole shenanigans of worshiping some ancient thing from another planet. And he's like, look, man, I think I might be able to just get these guys to turn on each other, and we can just forget that, and all those people that in that doing that Hydra thing will come over to my Hydra thing once those two are dead. But the rest of this is like you feel that from older Malick, remembering these things that were happening to him, and the fear that he now has of who we're gonna start calling Alveus. After last week's episode. Even more fearful is that the guy is already at your house. He shouldn't even be there, but he's there ahead of you. You're coming literally straight from the last mission that he barely escapes from. And now the guy is already there ahead of him, standing there with your beautiful daughter that you love. And she is a true believer and has no idea how much danger she really is in. But Malick is finally realizing, which a lot of bad guys' plans have, is the deal with the devil. Oh my God, I've been writing checks and my ass can't cash, and the what you brought is worse than what you are, and that if you just settled for what you already had, kind of like, the guy kind of tells him, Alveus kind of tells him, like, straight up, like, you have all this. Why did you need to do this? Why did you need to bring me back? And it's true, right? But that search for power, ends up biting him in the ass. But Alveus calls all the Hydra people, and eventually, after being weird, creepy, moody, freaking Malick out the whole time, everybody comes over, and, he talks about how all these sacrifices, all these men that you sent there, right? Well, they're all here. We've returned. They all live within me. And that's when he turns the tables and kills all of those people. And leaves Malick and his daughter. And it's just even more macabre because he just keeps needling it. Malick getting more and more worried that he's going to die because he saw his own death. It was a magnificent looking death, too. I actually can't wait to see if that actually still happens. I can't remember. But I know I'm kind of like running through the whole plot and leaving things out, but we're gonna circle back to everything else. So you find out though that Malick, see, again, he's not the guy who gets his hands dirty, right? Last episode when I finally killed somebody, it was this huge deal. But at the same time, I kind of feel like even though he loved that power, realizing now that he's basically in that situation with Alveus at any moment now that he saw his own death, um, it's goes back to everything that he's been doing, just like his father, right? So they give us the flashback of the night that it was him and Nathaniel, and he felt the rock and he didn't take it, and he left it in there and took another one and let his brother take the rock. Now, why the... I think it came down to the last two, right? The last two of them. If there was I can't remember, there was a guy right after Nathaniel. Like, why doesn't Nathaniel know what the shape of the rock is? Or if there was only one left in there? I think it was because there was only one left in there. And Nathaniel knew that which one it was, and he let his brother get sacrificed. And now he has to face his brother, saying, like, hey, man, I thought we were in this till the end, But that's when they all start to come out. And Malick eventually, the daughter's like Paradise Lost from Alveus, which is like, oh God, like he's torturing Malick here in a way. Like, it's really fucked up because this is the guy that helped you. And he's like, but this is almost like he's acting like it's a teaching moment, meaning, I need a Malick by my side. And he's ready to die, right? He's like, he's scared for his daughter. He's like, just come on. He's like, I still need a Malick by my side. And you think at first he's talking about the girl, because then he kisses her and then he kills her and drops her and goes, now you know what sacrifice is like. And basically he's like, there's nothing left to fear. Yeah, except you. And so now Malick is basically like, oh, I'm done. Like, why do I even do anything? This thing is, I was an idiot. This is what it all comes down to. Karma, almost. Now, meanwhile, you've got the whole, like, our agents and stuff. Coulson just having that kind of mental freak out of, this is Ward, it's not Ward, this is coming back to haunt me. If I had just brought Ward in instead of Payback, because Payback, it's not what we do here, and Fitz and him, Ward had it coming, like Fitz says. He had it coming. He deserved everything he got. But again, like Coulson says, Payback is not what we do here. I knew this was going to come back to haunt me. I just didn't realize it was actually going to come back to haunt me. And if I had just brought him in, this wouldn't be happening. But then, of course, the writers would have figured out some other way to do it. So, then you don't have a story. So, also, just seeing Ward's chest get caved in a flashback here is always just like you just feel it, right? Brett Dalton's kid just... and then you get the little mini mission where Lincoln and Daisy go to find an Inhuman who knows something about Alveus. And, just so that they can kind of go in and understand what they're dealing with. Meanwhile, Simmons is working on something about the research they were doing about sparrows and how it might be something that Alveus is afraid of. But the thing, this brought back the character James, a character I also forgot about, that'll show up later on. He gets a little bit of a bigger arc, a little bit more of a, recurring character. I don't like this guy. I don't like the character. I really just don't like the character. He's that guy who will, won't do anything for anyone unless there's something in it for him. And he's always going to stab you in the back no matter what. And I just don't find him charming enough or likable enough, because he can get away with that if you can make them kind of likable. There is a way to do it. This guy's just not likable at all. And so when they go there, and yeah, the action there is impressive. They quake the mine and stuff, and that's all good. They find the Kree artifact. But Lincoln here, and this is where I'm seeing it now, okay? I can understand why people don't like this character. Not the actor, but the character. He brought a Terrigen crystal with to like bribe the guy, okay? Just ask Fitz or Simmons to make you a fake crystal. The guy doesn't know. All right, so I can understand that. And I saw it last week when we were talking about episode 15, when he told Coulson, "I'd kill you if you shot Daisy." Like, they've written him in ways that make him unlikable. Maybe it was purposeful, knowing where they were going, to soften the blow or something, but bringing a Terrigen crystal with, and Daisy's face like, what the fuck, you brought a Terrigen crystal with? You idiot. So, but they get him to talk, that he was like this, from the original group of Inhumans that were created. His power was to control the Inhumans. Like, be, how did he put it? Great. Oh, yeah, okay, here we go. He commanded the original Inhuman army, but they began to fear him, and that's when they all came together and banished him to this, like, other place. Because even they realized that they made something way too powerful to control. But I'm like, still focusing on, like, Lincoln, why did you bring that Terrigen crystal? Because he's like, give me the crystal. And they do, they fuck with him, and they don't, he doesn't get it. But still, you brought it. What if it broke? What if it dropped out? What if anything happened? So it was really dumb. So yeah, no powers for him. May, okay. The fight with Guerra. Now, we've talked about this actor in the past. He is a really great action fighter. He's a pretty, he's known to action movie junkies, okay? And he's in Brotherhood of the Wolf. So we finally get to see a really, established action star with Ming-Na Wen here, in that scene where they trap him in there, and that was an incredible fight. I had a nerdgasm from it, because it was just another really well done thing, like, oh, you really want to do this the hard way. It just, oh, so good. This also brought up, like, talking about Lincoln. Made me just think that every freaking year, it's like always some guy in Daisy. It just, like, the network couldn't just let them just, let's focus on her as a character without relationships, like, dealing with that. It's just, it's always been one of my problems, is that Fitz and Simmons is great. Gives us the one relationship in the show we can follow, rather than I don't know. I feel like they were checking boxes when it comes to Lincoln. Anything else in here? Anything else that I'm missing? Return of Mac, even though he gets his butt handed to him later by the fighter. They capture him, he gets away, and he brings the entire bus straight to one of Malick's places. Again, there was some pretty interesting stuff there too. I mean, he stops Coulson's hand. Again, him just very upset. Yeah, he takes the plane. Oh, and the setup that they're bringing back together the Secret Warriors. And that's pretty much it for this episode. It's, again, pretty good, decent stuff. All the Gideon Malick stuff was great. The action was great. The only thing I didn't really like, again, was the guy, the character of James. Didn't really care for him that much. And like I said, the other thing that's just like, why? So, anyway, we'll be back with episode 17 coming up shortly. Hopefully sooner rather than later. If you like this review, please hit the like button, comment, share, subscribe, and the bell for all notifications. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next video.